Spirit Halloween is making a Subway theme for 2025. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. And finally, the aliens built the pyramids. Point being, these three things are things you should all know by now. So, as we all know, I don't have to act like this is a surprise, but Spirit Halloween is doing a Subway theme this year, Madison Scare Park. And I got to thinking, what exactly is that going to look like? What's it gonna entail? And so I decided, using a few clues from both the teaser and some leaks, which I will get into, I've devised a 3D model of what I think the theme is going to look like. And if I do say so myself, I think it's going to be really damn accurate. Let's get into this. Now, before we get into the crazy stuff, I'd like to do a secondary analysis of the teaser they released recently. But this time, looking for just ISE pieces. Things that I think will be in the themes. Just so we can have an idea of the general aesthetic it's going to have, what knickknacks it's going to have, what the theme is going to involve. And historically, putting theme pieces in Spirit's videos and teasers is something that they do a lot. I mean, take this picture of Cotton Candy Dan, for example. We have not only the Down the Duck booth, but behind him we can see the fortune teller stand, and even farther back we can see the posters that were in the theme. So point being, from Lil Spirit videos and teasers, we can make out a lot. So, let's get into that. So I'm not exactly going in chronological order here, but the first thing of note we see in the teaser is the Madison Scare Park 31st Street Station sign, which I'll just say is for sure going to be in the archway. Like, I'm 100% sure it's going to be in the arch. Nothing quite to mention there. Also, this train itself, I think, is going to be kind of notable. I mean, with a little Jack the Reaper face on it and all, I can't help but feel like this is a pretty intentional design. I think we're going to be seeing it in the theme. On like one side of a train car or something. We also have this manhole cover. Will it be used in the theme? I don't know. I feel like it will. It looks like the quality of something Spirit would put in the ISEs. Where will it be? I don't really know, but hey, cool little piece. Next, without analyzing the newspaper itself, just gotta say, it's gonna be dotted around the floors probably. Similar to how the Carnival posters were just kind of scattered around the ground in the Carnival. And then in this picture, if you look at the back, you can see what looks to be like a Subway bench. And the interesting thing about this is due to shipping manifests and just rumors, it is presumed that you're going to be able to sit on these in the theme, which I'm kind of weirded out by. Not in the way that it's like weird or creepy or no, but just it's kind of confusing to me why out of all innovations they could make for a theme, this is one of the ones they chose. Because like, I don't know about you, but I've never been in a Spirit store and been like, oh man, I want to sit on the theme so bad. Like, I don't know. Have you folks ever thought about that? Like, legitimately, non-rhetorical question. Like, have you... I don't know, man. Next in the teaser, we see a lot of these, subway route diagram, subway map. So, I feel like these are gonna be, maybe in the walls of the train or just somewhere. But they're gonna be in the theme, most likely. Now, something else to mention about this image is in the corner, we see what I believe is going to be one of the risers for the themes. So, that's a little interesting to see. We also see these cardboard cabinets, it looks like, with little doohickeys on them. And they're for sure cardboard if you look at them, like the details are printed on, except for like a few other things. But the interesting thing about this to me, I won't get into just yet. But yeah, we'll be seeing these most likely, but I'm going to get into some leaks later, and these are probably going to play a part, so I'll get back to you. Then there's also this phone we can see, which just due to the quality and stuff, it kind of looks like a toy phone. Not in the way that, I mean that, not that I'm saying it looks cheap or dingy or anything, but it's just to say that this seems like an ISE piece that Spirit would ship out to stores. So I think we'll be seeing this phone in the theme as well. Then, second last, we have the Harbor Herald paper dispenser. Nothing crazy here. You know, the paper's going to be in the theme most likely. So this is probably just going to be somewhere. We have the light up sign that says like Spirit Station and I don't know, whatever it says. But because, you know, they have the high quality light up sign in the archway, I feel like this is going to be in the theme as well. I feel like it would be a cool atmospheric touch. And finally, you see them all throughout the teaser. But there are going to be live wires in the theme. That's also been in a shipping manifest, so like it's just going to happen. There are going to be live wires in the theme. So you better be happy. Also, okay, I kind of lied a little bit. Going with the live wires in the way that they were found in a shipping manifest, this theme is also going to see the use of a shaker floor once again, which they did in 2022. So I think that's pretty neat. I think it fits the subway pretty well. But anyways, now that we've gone over the official stuff, I'd like to get into 3 leaks. Can I be sharing these? I don't know. I don't know. But who cares? If the US government can leak military plans, I can leak, you know, some stuff about the Spirit Subway theme. So, let's get into that. Leak Corner, the corner where we talk about leaks. If you're not cool with the leaks, then, click off the video, I guess. Leak Corner, who's excited for Leak Corner? I said, who's excited for Leak Corner? I said, who's excited for Leak Corner? I said, So, the first leak we have, I mean, all of these come from Reddit, I'll say that, all 3 of these. But the first leak we have is from someone named Lethal Canary on Reddit, who says the following. So, I only saw the very beginning of the theme back in June or July when it was still just a white cardboard blueprint with the mock-up designs on it. The designer was still toying with the setup and everything. At that point, it was around the same size as this year's theme with an archway in the front, and then the main subway car, but my memory is a little fuzzy on just how big, and they may add some things. Something small that I did note was that there was graffiti on the car. One in particular said, "Crouchy was here." So there's that. I actually have no idea what kind of animatronics they're gonna go with this year, however. So definitely an interesting little paragraph. And I think there's there's like one big thing we can pull out of this, which is that the theme is going to be in 2 pieces. Number 1, the archway, and number 2, as opposed to the carnival, where the carnival was one, you know, big theme, but it was separated into chunks. The subway is just going to be one big thing. And as they mention, it's going to be a subway car. Now, I'll get to what I think about that in a little bit. But they mention that it's just going to be one big subway car. Not a bunch of small little ones, just one. And so that's kind of interesting. Not 100% sure how I feel about that as a concept. But we'll have to see how it turns out, for sure. So next, we have this diagram that someone made based on that description. And the diagrams, this isn't 100% accurate, but it's basically what's described. And there's going to be a little clarification to it later. But let me just say, okay, guys, I don't know who made the diagram. Credit doesn't go to me, okay? I don't know who made this. I don't know what their name is. I mean, maybe I have some idea, but I'm not sure for sure who made this. So please don't act like I'm trying to take credit for this. This is not my diagram. I don't know whose it is. I don't know who made it. Just know that it isn't me, okay? Credit for this diagram goes to someone who isn't me. You got that? But, I mean, there are a few interesting things with it. What I find more interesting is that this person, I don't remember their name, but the Reddit person, the Reddit user, responded to this. And they said something that I think is kind of interesting, a little detail onto the theme that I think, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Let's look at that. Yes, it was closer to the second picture at the time, But oh, I forgot to point out, at the very front of the ISE, wherein the mock-up is open after you pass through the archway, is actually a control panel for operating the car with all the knobs and gears and whatnot. That part isn't open. We went through the side doors. So this is quite interesting to me, because as they say, the car isn't actually open to walk in through from the side that everyone thinks it is due to from the diagram you see there. But instead there's a control panel. Now I'm thinking, not just any control panel, but I believe we've seen it. Because if you remember that part of the ISE I kind of skipped over with my teaser analysis, I believe that the little cabinets, and you can see in another shot, all the buttons, that's where the emergency activator is. I believe that is the control panel they speak of. I mean, if it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, looks like a duck, if it looks like a control panel, it probably is. And so that's just, I believe that what we see in the teaser here is the control panel they're talking about. So that's quite interesting to me. Alright, but now that all that's out of the way, and I promise this 11 minutes was necessary, because I just really wanted to give context for this little model I made. I mean, if you really wanted to see it, you could have just skipped, so you can't complain for watching the full video, come on. But I just wanted to spend all this time to give context to the model I made, why I made it like I did, and why I think it will be accurate, because I think that'll be more impactful than just, oh, here's what I made. I have reasoning, I have all that. But without further ado, I guess I should just show you my concept for the Madison Scare Park Station 2025 Spirit Halloween ISE. So folks, here it is. Hope all that build-up was worth it, because this is the 3D model I made of the ISE in Tinkercad. Now, to start off, at the front we have the archway. Now, I didn't make it very crazy. Quite frankly, I don't think it's going to be anything very nuts. I just went for realistic, what I think a subway entrance archway would look like. It's very reminiscent to Spirit Station Z, obviously. But you'd have the blue metal fences, and that is what they look like in New York, which is clearly what this theme is based off of. And up there you have the sign, obviously not as sexy as the actual one that Spirit has that we've seen already, but just pretend that good one's there. So I obviously talked a big game about the control panel, and this picture here is just kind of zooming in on how I think it's going to be integrated into the theme. As you see, it's right on the end of the subway car, as they said, because you couldn't walk through it. The control panel was just there. So this is what I'm kind of picturing. It's going to be facing inwards, and you're going to press all the little buttons and doohickeys to control the car. Now, what will that involve exactly? I'm thinking it's going to do three things. Number one, control the lighting. Whether that means changing colors or changing things on and off, I'm not really sure. But I think it could control the lighting. I don't know. I think it can control the live wires when they're going to go off. That'll be up to the people at the panel, so I think that'll be fun. And also, I believe that because you see the emergency activator there, I think there's also a possibility that it could control an animatronic. Now, maybe the emergency activator won't actually be there, but, it's in the teaser, so I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Who knows, but I think it could just be cool use. Granted, will the cable be able to stretch that far? Next question. And okay, I know I said the control panel, I believe, would have 3 functions, but a fourth just occurred to me, which is that it could control the shaker floor, too. Because when you think about it, that would get some good scares from people. And, Spirit loves doing that. So, I don't know. I think that would actually be a pretty fun mechanic. Having it so, someone walks through and then you press a button that makes the shaker floor go off. I think it would just add a little more, interactivity to the theme that, would make the store a lot more of a fun experience. Now, I know a lot of people are probably hearing all that and being like, end of the road. What? I'm sorry. We've never had a theme that's done that. And you're right. You're absolutely right. And maybe it's far-fetched of me to be predicting these things, but when you think about it, especially with the Carnival, Spirit has just been trying to get more and more and more interactive with their themes. You know, like spinning the wheel, the animatronic activators, the two gun activators, and the down the duck booth that, weren't even for sale, really. The whole, what am I thinking of? What am I thinking of? I don't know. But you could buy, the prizes, on the tents. You could, there were the funhouse mirrors. There was the rotating down the duck booth. Like, everything about it, it's clear that Spirit's just trying to make their themes that much more immersive. And considering the high quality lights we're seeing so far, in like the sign, considering the fact that you can sit on the theme, honestly, I don't think this is that far-fetched. How will stores be able to set it up? I don't exactly know, but that's not my issue to deal with. But yes, that's just my general belief of what the whole control panel deal is gonna do. Now, taking a gander at the side of the theme, this is pretty much it. I mean, I'll show the other side in the walkthrough. The other side's the exact same, though. But generally, the idea I have for how this theme is gonna look is that it's not just gonna be a subway car. The subway car is the main thing of it. It's gonna be in the middle. But it's also gonna be the station itself. Like, it's gonna look like if you took a big knife, took just a cross-section of a subway station, and slapped it in a Spirit store. You have the car in the middle, and you have the platforms on either side with these pillars. And part of my reason for this theory, and this is gonna sound so silly, but if my prediction of the phone being in the theme is correct, I just don't see that being on, like, the subway car. Because, maybe I'll sound like a dumbass, I don't know. But I've never really seen a subway car that has, like, a phone on it. I could be wrong, I don't know. Maybe I'm incorrect. But I just feel like the phone, and maybe the map, could be on the kind of pillars you see here. That's kind of what I'm imagining. But I don't know. I just think it would be that extra step to make the theme that much more neat, interactive. And I don't know. We'll just have to see. There will probably be other pieces just strewn about, like the newspaper dispenser, the maps, the posters, all that. Like, I think that's just going to be strewn about. There are probably going to be some live wires on the platform, too. But I'm definitely excited to see how this turns out. And now, finally, the last piece of the puzzle is the walkthrough. Now, this is kind of along the lines of what I think it'll look like. Obviously, I didn't add all the details. It's going to look a lot more subway car-like, in my opinion. But as you can see, those are the benches I mentioned that you're going to be able to sit on. I think there'll be around 2. I don't know. It wouldn't really make sense to have just 1 to me. But 2 symmetrical. And plus, I just like symmetry, okay? I'm a symmetrical guy. And there'll also be the shaker floor smack dab in the middle. I don't know. Just seems like where the shaker floor would be. Or hell, maybe there'd even be 2. I don't know. And you can't really make it out, but I'm thinking, because I had some room, and because it's such a big walkthrough, like, because I'm envisioning this being such a long walkthrough, I think it would be a missed potential to not have an animatronic or 2 in it. 2022 they did that, so absolutely, I'm picturing at the very end of the walkthrough is an animatronic, and as I said, with the emergency activator being right up at the front, it's possible that that could be the animatronic that the activator will be connected to. So that way, it could be the kind of thing where a friend could go through the walkway as another person is inside, kind of controlling their experience, flashing lights at them, getting the shaker floor to go, and finally activating the animatronic right at the end, which I think could be really cool if it was like a jump scare or anything, to give them that final little fright, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Maybe that's a far-fetched, maybe I'm injecting my own ideas into this too much, but just extrapolating from what we've gotten so far from last year and this year, that's just kind of the idea I'm envisioning for this theme. But folks, that's all my time for today. I have a history assignment due today that I really should be getting to. It's 9:12 at night. And it's due at midnight, and it may or may not be worth 10% of my grade. Shit. But I hope you enjoyed this concept of what I think the theme is going to look like. Again, I have my sources, so you may look at those, think of what you think. Tell me what you thought of this in the comments below. Do you think it'll be accurate? And if it is, what do you think of this theme? Fuck. Do you think it will be cool? Do you think it will turn out neat? Are you excited for it? And well, like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Fare thee well.